What's going on, guys? Back again, Chosen Sports. After a long fucking period of not doing shit, here we are. The boys are back in town. Dill can unfortunately not make it today, but me and Dell are on. And you know what? We got some good content coming. We got the NFL mock draft, quick picks for us. So me and Dell are going to give you our picks for each team for the first round. Kind of go through why we chose those guys, and there's probably some trades included, stuff like that. All the goods that will be involved. So you'll hear some of our reasoning behind each guy, and get us excited for Thursday's draft. I'm fucking fired up. What do you think, Deli?
Woo! Yeah, I like the draft.
No, it should be good. I mean, the fucking ESPN's been hyping it up for like 6 months as if it's like any day now. But I mean, now it's finally any day now.
You know why, baby? Football's biggest sport in America. You already know.
Yeah, it's gradually become America's sport. I mean, baseball for the most part is kind of dying out. I mean, we still love baseball, but most
I'm like
Americans
super
are
into
like,
baseball
fuck
this year.
that.
I'm so happy. It revived in my life. I started playing fantasy baseball, and now I've been like addicted to it. I've been watching it like crazy. So definitely a huge baseball guy too. But I'd say for overall American sports right now, football is probably the biggest. But just how things are.
I'm weird. Like besides hockey, baseball is my favorite to watch. Like I don't even like watching football that much, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I love baseball. Baseball's awesome. There's nothing better than just smacking a home run, fucking that excited that just comes out of nowhere. Because it's like a game that's so quiet and like patient, and then, like when something like that happens, it just like fucking lights a fire in their ass.
I like it because it's a thinking man's game. That's why I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy. I mean, that's why I like football too. Football is a shit ton of strategy. You know what I mean? One game a week, and you play. You have a game plan for 1 week for one team, and there's limited amount of games. Every game matters 100% to the fullest. One game elimination playoffs. That's why football is always high stakes. I love it. It's good stuff.
I mean, if you truly break down any sport, it comes down to strategy and game plan. But I feel like baseball, out of all the sports, you can kind of get away with, okay, you know what I mean? You need the game plan, and it doesn't matter necessarily how athletic your players are. Whereas every other sport, like if you have some freak athletes, then you can kind of like scoop by.
Yeah. See, I think realistically, like, I honestly think football and baseball are equivalent in that category because, we've seen Tom Brady, like obviously best football player of all time, go on team like Patriots teams that would never go far, just by him doing stuff alone. Like example, the 2019 Patriots that were started 8-0 and then completely fell apart. So even the best player of all time can't take the team to the finals and win it. Sometimes. So that's why football, I think a lot of stuff's different, and like it takes a full team. Same with baseball. Like, Mike Trout's been on the Angels his whole career. How many times has he won anything? 0. One of the best players of all time in baseball history. Never won shit because his team sucks. So it's like baseball and football both are just so team oriented, which is why I like both.
Yeah.
But yeah, good way to kick that off. And then guess we'll just jump right into it, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Cool.
We kept the fans waiting long enough.
Oh yeah, I know. 2 weeks dry here. Fucking
almost. Like I think it was 3. Drier than me.
That's what I'm saying, baby. Weeks. So moving on. We got first round, pick 1. Jaguars. I mean, are we even going to talk about this one? Is Trevor Lawrence. I mean, they're not going to pass up on Trevor Lawrence. He's one of the best prospects since we've seen since Andrew Luck.
No, I think he's trading down.
Yeah, they'd be cracked out. That's the day where their fans fucking just pack up and say, hey, we're moving to fucking Miami and root for the Dolphins.
Let's go, Duval.
This team's going to turn around quick. I'm telling you, man. I think they're like, because realistically, their division isn't super hard. It's not easy, but it's not super tough. So I think that like within the next couple of years, they can be competitors. They added in a great coach. They got Urban Meyer there now, and then now they're adding in a franchise quarterback, and they have some really good pieces on D, and they have a couple good pieces on O that they found last year. Some good wide receivers, Laviska Shenault, James Robinson, undrafted free agent out of nowhere, fucking just balling for them. So like they have some really good pieces, and I think with this draft and all the picks they got, give Lawrence a year to get NFL ready, and I think by next year, the year after, they could be competitors.
I feel like they have to have something up their sleeve though, because obviously they're going to pick Lawrence and they got all the picks, but they have like the most cap space and they haven't really done anything with it. It's like they're just sitting on house money at this point. They have to be planning up some crazy fucking trades for big time players that they can use that cap on. Otherwise, what are they doing?
They've made some smaller. They made some pickups through free agency. I don't remember exactly who, but I remember them seeing them spend some money. But realistically, they had a bunch left because the team just had so much cap space to begin with. Like realistically, I think you're right. They're probably going to use, the new acquisition of Urban Meyer, getting Trevor Lawrence, new franchise quarterback guys, a bunch of hype behind him. They're going to use that to recruit players onto the team. So I think that's kind of the plan. They're going to get these guys locked and loaded and hopefully add in a few more pieces in the trade market.
I feel like besides that first overall pick, they're pretty much a shoo-in to be busy on draft night between trading up and down because they're going to be wanting to trade for new players or just for like better players. Considering all the cap space they have, they can afford to make so many different moves between that and the picks.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if it was me after you grab Trevor Lawrence, top priority would be protecting him. So I'd load up on guards, tackles, whatever you can, because that O-line needs a little bit of work, and then also on the defensive side, like they definitely needed help in a few areas. So I would, definitely, I'd say more their secondary. Their D-line was decent last year, but their secondary needed some work. So I mean, that's probably what the areas they'll address: secondary and O-line, for the most part. Maybe add another wide receiver, but we'll see. But yeah, let's move on. We all know that he's going to the fucking Jags. No one's disagreeing with that. Jets, I think this one's Zach Wilson. I mean, they've already been saying on the news that this guy's like preparing already to be New York's quarterback. Like he's talked to Mark Sanchez and Chad Pennington and all these other like Jets like great quarterbacks. So like he's already like trying to get himself acclimated. I mean, he's been spotted, I think, already in like New York City, trying to get used to shit over there. I think it's a lock, and he looks phenomenal. Like his pro day was ridiculous. So.
Did he talk to Broadway Joe yet?
I'm sure he did. I honestly didn't see his name in there, but I don't know how you wouldn't talk to Broadway Joe. He's the best player in franchise history. So
yeah, I was gonna say he talked to Pennington, who was good, but then he got the bum shoulder, and then he talked to Mark Sanchez, who's well known for the butt fumble. It's like, wow, these Jets great quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Broadway Joe is
that's why I'm like, this is
though.
great. Like, they just haven't had too many guys. Like Joe Namath's the only guy that had any sort of winning mentality over there. But I think that's pretty much a lock. Like, do you have anybody else? Do you think, or do you think they're going to take Wilson?
No, I honestly, before they traded Darnold, I thought that they were going to do a typical Jets move and completely whiff on that and not even draft Wilson. But now it's like, okay, you fucking just traded Darnold so it's like, what? How can you possibly rationalize not taking a quarterback, especially if it's Wilson's there,
Oh, I 100% agree. And I mean, realistically, I think Darnold got a little bit shafted. Like he's in a great place now. I think, with the Panthers, he'll be fine. And I think it's a better organization, a lot of weapons. He got, he's on a better team in general. I think the Jets can turn it around. They got Saleh in there now. He's a good coach. But I just thought that, with the Jets, they never got a good chance to see Darnold's full potential. They just never brought it out of him. They never supported him on any side of the ball. So I'm really interested to see what he does with Carolina, because they're a little bit more strong, in my opinion. So hopefully he has a good year. I'm rooting for him. But
Carolina's not a bad team, to be honest. And Teddy Bridgewater, who I had little to no faith in as being a starting quarterback, he actually played fairly well. He looked like a really good quarterback at times. So I would say Darnold is at the same level, if not better, than Teddy Bridgewater. So you plug him in, it's probably going to be more
what, too? I think
and he's younger.
New quarterback in the league, like, not having a good running game is also tough to take the pressure off you. He never had a good running game in New York. Now he's walking into a backfield with Christian McCaffrey. So it's like,
and Mike Davis.
Yeah. And dude, he's fucking sick too.
Yeah.
But actually, I think they traded him. I think he's gone now.
He's gonzo?
I think he went to the Falcons. If my memory is correct. Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive he's on the Falcons now. But yeah, I mean, that's a great, obviously got CMC. If that defense, stiffens up a bit, they need to address defense, which is what I'll talk about when we get to their pick. But if they address that defense a bit, that team's not too bad. So we'll see how they look down the stretch. But moving on, we get the Niners. This one is a weird one. They moved all the way up to 3, and there's been so many rumors that they're going to take either Mac Jones or Trey Lance, who are not projected to go there. I'm going to stick with it, though. I believe the rumor. I think that they see something in Mac Jones, and I think that Mac Jones is going to go at 3. I'm dead serious.
A lot of the latest mock drafts, they put Justin Fields back at number 3.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I don't know. There's something like telling me these teams talk to each other, especially that I'm seeing reports that the Patriots are looking at Justin Fields. They know he's going to be there past 3. These teams talk to each other a lot. Like I don't think that they'd be saying these rumors if there was a lock that he was going to Stanford. And I think that they see something in Mac Jones. I know the coach in specific, Shanahan, likes that style quarterback, has been looking for a pure pocket passer, guy with great accuracy. And I mean, who doesn't love a coach? Who doesn't love a QB that's coached up by fucking what's his name? Blanking out right now.
Nick Saban.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, like you have a guy that's crafting the most NFL ready players. So I just think that Mac Jones is going to go at 3. and they're going to try to replace Jimmy with him. What do you think?
Yeah, probably. I could definitely see that. I mean, the big issue with the 49ers these past few years, I mean, they've been injury riddled, but they're just so well coached, and the GM does such a good job of getting these guys on the same page, like recruiting talent and scouting and everything. They're always been competitive, but um, I mean, you look at it, you need the end of the day, even if the other positions are banged up, you can have guys fill in. The quarterback is like the one position where you can't really have a fill-in guy. It just never works. And Jimmy Garoppolo just cannot stay on the field, and he's getting paid superstar dollars. And he's completely underperforming for how much he's getting paid. So they'd be wise if they drafted a quarterback and kind of just moved on from him.
Yeah, I mean, if I were them at this point, I would be trying to get rid of his contract. Take someone on a nice rookie deal. Obviously, the third overall pick, you got to pay him a good amount, but realistically, it wouldn't be even close to what Jimmy's making. Jimmy's making, he has over $100 million contract, which I thought was crazy when they first offered him that for like 4 good games with the Pats.
He started like 4 games.
I was saying he had 4 good games with the Pats, and they offered him $100 million. I mean, it was crazy. Like I couldn't believe it. But
what was like the bigger question? I feel like their draft pick. Yeah, there's a big question, but I feel like the even bigger question lies in where they dish off Jimmy Garoppolo.
it's a good point because yeah, he's not going to want to stay and be a backup. So I don't. They could use a different approach. They could people were saying Mac Jones needs a little bit of time, so maybe they keep Jimmy for another year and they roll him behind Mac Jones rolls behind him and learns from Jimmy. That could definitely happen.
I could see that. I mean, they that's almost like the similar thing what they did with Alex Smith and Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, because they've been kind of saying that. The coaches have come out and said, hey, like, we're not trying to replace Jimmy, like this and that. Like, I know it's a cover up, but they're going to draft the quarterback. They moved up to 3 for that reason. They're going to get a quarterback. But realistically, like, I think that they might mean that though, then that they're not just moving on right away. Like either Mac Jones is going to have to earn it, or they have a plan to develop him over time, similar to what Aaron Rodgers did with Brett Favre, stuff like that. Wait behind them and try to develop and get them the most NFL ready they can. Because obviously he was a little more raw coming out, and they thought that he needed a little more time, which is why they thought he was going to go later in the first round. But they clearly see something in him, and I think that's where he's going to go. So I got him going 3 of the Niners. Moving on, Falcons. We got this pick to me. This one I think is a lock too. They're just going to take the best player on the board at this pick. They have a lot of needs, but I think especially now that they're going to probably lose Julio Jones too, they're going to take Kyle Pitts, the tight end / wide receiver out of Florida. The guy is one of the most freakish athletes we've seen come through the draft. He runs like a 4.4 flat. That's a tight end that's 6'8", like he's like 6'8", and like fucking almost like he's like 250. He's fucking huge, and he runs a 4.4, which is completely nuts. As a tight end, you don't find guys that run that fast. He's a complete matchup nightmare. And they're going to need a replacement for Julio, and keep surrounding Matt Ryan with weapons because he doesn't have much time left to play at a high level. He's getting old, so I think they're going to take the best player on the board. I think they're going to take Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense too, considering last year they lost Austin Hooper to the Cleveland Browns, so they kind of had a little bit of a hole at tight end. And like you just said, Julio's probably gone. They'll dish his contract out, rebuild, and they have Calvin Ridley, who's a stud wide receiver. So
yeah,
not necessarily. They don't really have to break the bank and go out of their way to get Devonta Smith when they could always get a wide receiver later on or even in free agency.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts is by far and away like the best outside quarterback prospect that we've seen in this draft so far. People are just going nuts about him, and I don't see them passing on him. I think they're going to try to help Matt Ryan a bit and run the ball a little bit more. I think they're going to run the 2 tight end set with Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst, who also had a pretty decent year last year, replacing Hooper. So I think those 2 together with Ridley and a couple of those other guys, they have like that guy Gage that's pretty solid. They have a couple other guys that slide in there that are pretty decent at their wide receiver position. So they'll be okay on offense. I don't know what's going on with Gurley's knees, but I'm pretty sure they got what's his name? Chris Davis. Yeah. And with him and that Matt Ryan running the team on offense, I mean, they should have a pretty solid team, offensive team at least. Their defense needs to be addressed, but yeah, seeing that we both
per usual.
I know, yeah, their defense is just a mess always. Doesn't matter who they hired, whatever they do. But 5, we got 5 pick here. We got the Bengals. I'm gonna make a Bengals choice here. The Bengals are not going to protect Joe Burrow. They're going to draft Jamar Chase, who was his LSU counterpart wide receiver. Who Jamar Chase is probably the best receiver in the draft, like pound for pound. Completely filthy, whatever. I get it. They're going to have one of the best receiving corps in the league, but they better hope they protect Burrow because they won't last long if they don't. But I think they're going to do that and not take Penei Sewell. who a lot of people think they're going to take. I think they're going to pair him. I think Joe Burrow's a lot involved into the decision making, and one of his buddies are sitting there that he had, a 1,500 passing yard season with, 2 years removed. They're going to be like, okay, he wants this guy. We're going to get him. Like they're going to use him in a lot of the decision making, I think too. So I think they're going to take Jamar Chase.
Man, I'm torn with this one. I mean, I could see either side for the pick, but I don't know. I know if I'm looking at it, if I'm the GM, I don't care how much Burrow likes Jamar Chase. Like, you definitely need to protect him. Like, I'd be scared straight after what happened to his leg last season. And then with the way these offensive linemen have been moving in between trades and free agency signings. So the barrel's starting to run dry. So I would definitely go ahead and get Penny Sewell, because great offensive linemen are like a dime a dozen. Wide receivers, it's like you can replace like left and right. It's a fairly replaceable position, but
yeah, they're replacing the X receiver, which was AJ Green, who's now gone.
yeah.
So
but it's not like they have like nobody, like it's not like they have scrubs at wide out though. Like they have like Tyler Boyd and
T. Higgins.
Yeah, and they're both great wide receivers.
Yeah, no, I mean they would be fine at wide receiver. They do need some help, I'd say. I mean, another receiver to throw in there would be good. And then they lost Gio Bernard too, which doesn't help. But Joe Mixon had an off year, so they could use another running back. I could see them trying to go for one later on. But I just that's a tough one. I had a tough choice picking two, but I just think they're going to do what Bengal things do. They're just going to go and do the wrong thing and get another wide receiver. That's why I got them taking Jamar Chase. But
I don't know. I could see it, but personally, I wouldn't take him. But I could see it. I honestly could see it.
No, if it was me, I wouldn't take the wide receiver either. I would take the tackle. But I just don't think they will. They're just the Bengals. That's my point.
Yeah.
But if you had to pick one, do you think they're gonna go with the tackle?
Man, that's so hard. Yeah, I'll probably go with the tackle. I think they're gonna be scared straight after last season. They have to.
They should.
You got to.
If it was me, I would do it. As good as Jamar Chase is, as high of a pick you have, you got to take someone that's going to protect your franchise.
That dude's leg was fucked.
He tore all three main muscles. He tore the ACL, MCL, and the meniscus joint too. Tore everything.
Fucked.
Yeah.
Rookie year, you're running for your life. You just get trucked.
Yeah, poor bastard. I love Joe Burrow too.
Finally make it to the league. Oh, hey, buddy. Welcome to the league.
As soon as I saw
your legs.
As soon as I saw him go to the Bengals, I was worried for his career. And then we saw what happened after a couple games then. But he was playing pretty good.
Doesn't every guy that goes to the Bengals get worried for their career? They're just in it for the bag.
Poor bastards. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would do it for the bag too and just get killed. Why not? Never has to work a day in his life. Yeah, let's move on. Number 6, we have the Dolphins here. There's a lot of speculation about this pick too. Dude, I can't wrap my head around why people are sleeping so bad on Devonta Smith. People think that he's going to go in like the 15 to 20 range. Like that's how low they got this guy going. I mean, he's only the third player ever to win the Heisman. He's undersized a little bit, yes, but people forget he's still 6 feet tall. And he's got a good frame. He's smaller, like weight wise, but he's quick, shifty. He gets open. I don't understand why he's being slept on. He's fucking phenomenal. I still have, and this is what the reason I put him here at 6'2". I think the Dolphins will take him. One, they need another wide receiver, I think, to add in with that group there. They got a really solid group now with Fuller, Parker, and now Devonta Smith. That they add that in, he got all the weapons he needs. But another reason too is that the Dolphins last year in the draft, they overlooked all the hype and all the bullshit around Tua, and they went and got their guy because he was supposed to fall in the draft because of his injury problems or whatever, and they ended up taking him right where he was expected to go. So I think they're going to do the same thing here with Devonta Smith, and I'll lock him in at 6. That's my point.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's pretty clear cut. Their team's pretty loaded, and they're young, and they're developing, and they're already a phenomenal team, well coached up. If they can just add another piece on offense and try to make up for a little bit of Tua's inconsistencies he's had so far. It's only been one season, but that'll definitely help his development and help him get better. Plus, him and Smith should fairly be on the same page since they were played in the same program together.
Yep, both Bama boys. So yeah, that's another reason I like it a lot too. So I'll lock that in. Me and you both agree. For number 7 here, this is where I had one of my trades. So I had what was this? Hold on. Oh yeah. Okay. So it's supposed to be the Lions. I had the Chargers trading up to the 7th overall pick. The 7th overall pick from the 13th pick, which is what they currently have. I had them trading up for this pick, packaging up a couple picks, whatever. but then taking Penei Sewell to protect Justin Herbert. That was a huge area of concern last year. They were really having trouble protecting him. He was running for his life, getting killed, similar to Joe Burrow. Luckily, nothing happened to him. Kid was playing phenomenal regardless, has a good offense around him. The line was one area they needed to address. They got a couple guards, I think, in free agency. Now they're going to add their star tackle, and I think Penei Sewell is going to be that guy for them. So I had them moving up to 7 with Detroit, and Detroit moving back to the 13th pick, getting a few more extra picks in later rounds.
See, I feel like that it depends what happens with the Bengals pick. So if the Bengals
100%.
pick Penei Sewell, then I feel like Detroit stays put and they get Jamar Chase. But if they vice versa, if they were to do Jamar Chase, then I could definitely see the Lions trading back, get some more picks.
I totally agree. I think the main two guys, that everybody wants, at least at the receiver position. There's a couple. There's really good receivers this year. Don't get me wrong. This class.
Waddle's really good too. He's phenomenal.
Yeah. There's a lot of really, really good receivers in this class that I'll be having going later rounds. But I just think that that's a glaring need for Detroit. They lost Kenny Galladay, so they're gonna need other wide
And
receivers.
Marvin Jones.
Yeah, and Marvin Jones, both gone. So there you go. Your top two guys wiped. That team's in a full rebuild right now. That's why I think they're going to do it. They're in that full rebuild stage. They're going to build up, get all those fucking picks in, as many as they can. They're going to get at least 3 picks for this move. From the jump to 13 to 7, you need a lot to get there. They're going to get, their first round. They're probably going to get a second round and maybe like a third or fourth round next year too. They're going to get a shit ton of picks from that. So seeing that they're rebuilding and some of the top guys are off the board, in my draft at least, my mock draft, then I think they're going to do that, trade back and get the extra picks. So that's why I get them with going with Penei.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense for both sides. Just depends on how the picks land.
Yep. But yeah, that's my prediction. Again, you want to move on to 8?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, 8's the Panthers here. So this is when I was talking earlier. I think they're going to address their defense. They got their guy quarterback now. They got a guy that they think they have a lot of potential in Sam Darnold. So still young, got a lot of potential still, obviously, but one was a high draft pick. So I think they're going to go with Patrick Surtain. I think he's one of the strongest corners in the draft. Probably one of the most NFL ready guys out there. His dad was a Pro Bowl NFL corner. And he's just following in his footsteps, doing the same shit. And I just think he'll be a perfect fit in a team that really needs help in the secondary. So Patrick Surtain, I got going there.
There's been a ton of speculation that the Panthers are going to trade back.
Oh, that could definitely happen too. If they want Patrick Surtain, though, they're going to have to get him between that 8 to 10 range. So I think that they're going to stay put and get him.
Because I don't know. I feel like they'll stay put and get Surtain, but I mean, wouldn't it be cool to see if the Patriots tried to trade up and then maybe the Panthers would pick Micah Parsons and we would get a quarterback? I mean, I don't think they would. I'm just saying that'd be a pretty cool speculation.
So that's a spot that I really considered the Patriots maybe moving up when I was doing it. I do have the Patriots trading up, by the way, in this draft. You'll see where I have them trading up in a minute. But the Panthers overall, I just think that jump from 15 to 8, we'd be giving up a lot, and I just know Bill isn't going to do that.
Yeah. So I don't think it makes sense, but it would just be, I don't know. It'd be cool just because he's never done that before for a quarterback. So
I would love to see.
That would be like, if I'm like a Pats fan, which obviously I am, that'd be like, man, like he must have like a ton of faith in this guy because he's never done that before. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. And if they do, if we see them trade up to a top 10, that's how you know. Because if they're not trading for a top 10 for any scrub, you know what I mean? They're doing it for someone that they really, really believe in. And, with guys like, at this point, Trey Lance and Justin Fields still on the board, like, there's some guys that have a lot of potential there. So we'll see. But I mean, we're being connected a lot to Justin Fields. That would be cool to see him take him. But they're probably gonna have to move up. So like I said, I got the Panthers staying put here. I'll talk about the Patriots trade in a minute. But I'll stay with Patrick Surtain at 8 with the Panthers. What do you think?
Yeah, I can roll with that.
Yeah, it makes the most sense for me there. They need help in the secondary. Moving on, Broncos. This is an interesting one too, because this is another team that's in the mix for a quarterback. So if we don't beat them out, then they might take our guy. But realistically, I don't have us trading them. I don't think they're going to trade this pick. I think they want this pick. And since I'm hearing the connections with the Patriots and Trey and Justin Fields, I think they're going to take Trey Lance at 9. Kid, it's an interesting pick because most people would probably think Justin Fields is going to go before him. Trey Lance only played one game last year, had a very shaky game, but it was all based on his performance from the year prior. I think he opted out or something, or got hurt last year, some shit like that. I'm pretty sure it was an opt out from COVID or some bullshit. But he only played one game last year, so there's a little bit of skepticalness about like his whole overall career. up at North Dakota State. So I don't know. I just think the Broncos are going to take a quarterback here to, fill in behind Drew Lock. I think Trey Lance is a guy that they can develop. Showed great, arm strength and accuracy at the combine there. I mean, this is just why I picked him going here, just because I heard the Patriots tied to what's his name, Justin Fields. That's the really only the difference between the two there. But that's where I have him going 9 to the Broncos.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think as a Broncos fan, you've just been dying for a quarterback for years ever since Manning left, because they've had some really great rosters put together, pretty much all around, running back, lineman, wide receiver. Their defense is always, aside from last year because of a couple injuries, they've had top 10 defense for the last couple of years as well, and it's just been marked up by Paxton Lynch and Brock Osweiler and Drew Lock now.
Yeah, they've been in a blender since Manning left. I mean,
yeah,
that's just how it is. I mean, you lose one of the greats, that's what happens. Same thing happened to the Pats. We stuck with fucking bum ass Cam Newton. So, I have faith.
It sucks though. Like when you have like a really good roster, and it's just like you can't really do anything because the quarterback position, because it's such an important position,
See, I'm telling you, the Chargers and Broncos have went hand in hand the past few years. Both of those teams have had stacked lineups and got absolutely riddled with injuries the whole year, lost all their starters, and then now finally the Chargers got their quarterback. Will the Broncos do it this year?
Yeah, I think it just makes sense. I don't see Drew Lock being there for the long term.
No, I don't either. I don't think he has enough talent. Unfortunately, I like the guy, funny guy, good guy, but I just don't think he has enough to be the starter that they want him to be. And then with that team healthy, he'll have some really good weapons to throw to. Jerry Judy, Cortland Sutton, who was out all last year. People forget about him. He's phenomenal. And then Noah Fant really breaking out the great tight end. And a couple other guys too that they have. KJ Hamler had a pretty good season last year. So they have some good talent there, all young, really good team to build around. So I think Trey Lance goes there at 9. Moving on, Cowboys at 10. Cowboys can do a lot of different things. They have a lot of holes on their team as well. But I think they're gonna go after the corner position. Their secondary was fucking awful last year. They were the worst in the league by far.
They didn't want to pay Byron Jones.
Yeah, they let Byron Jones walk, and he had a great season with the Dolphins, and then they fucking stunk, and they got worse. So I think they're going to take the corner out of South Carolina, J.C. Horn, another guy the Patriots have been connected to, but I think he's going to go here. Very hyped up corner, right behind what's his name, Patrick Surtain. But I've even heard people saying he might go before Patrick Surtain. So those are the top 2 corners in the draft. According to the scouts and analysts. So I think the Cowboys will take them here, help out Trevon Diggs in that secondary, and they're gonna try to get a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball because they got the offensive weapons.
Yeah, no, I agree. They should go defense all the way. The only other position I would even whiff at would possibly be offensive lineman.
Yeah, just because they're a little bit banged up there always, and they can't usually stay healthy. So, and a lot of those guys are getting old. So
yeah.
But yeah, that makes sense to me. So this is where I had the Patriots moving up now. So I had the Patriots trading with the Giants at 11 here. The Giants move back to 15 in our spot. We move up to 11. We take Justin Fields. So this gets us in front of the Eagles, Detroit, Vikings, some other teams that are maybe looking at a quarterback as well. So that's where I had the Patriots moving up from 15 to 11. I have them taking Justin Fields here, QB out of Ohio State. Love the kid, was a fucking baller. It kind of scares me a little bit, the Ohio State QB curse. I mean, a lot of the guys that come out of Ohio State as a quarterback don't pan out. But this guy, I think by far has been the most talented I've seen, in recent years. So I'm really excited. If that's the case, I'll be ecstatic. And I think he has a really good team to learn from. Obviously, he's getting coached from Bill. He had great coaching over at Ohio State, obviously before, and now he gets to learn a little bit from Cam Newton, guy that's been in the league for a while. So I would love it. I don't know about you. What do you think?
I think it all depends on when they think they can get Waddle. I feel like Waddle, the wide receiver, I feel like he's the guy that the Giants want. I know personally, if it was me, that's who I would want, because you have Sterling Shepard, who cannot stay on the field, and you just lost Golden Tate in free agency.
They did add Kenny G, though.
They did add Kenny G, but if you can somehow squeeze Waddle in there, you can afford to let Sterling Shepard walk. I think this is his contract year. And then Evan Ingram can't fucking stay healthy either. You need to make sure Daniel Jones has some weapons, because
it's a shame because Shepard and fucking Ingram are really good.
Yeah, they're really good when they're on the field, but they're just not on the field.
No, I can definitely see them having a glaring need there. Seeing that the drop is not that far, I think they would maybe consider it, considering that, they have a pretty decent team already. They had a really good year last year, in my opinion, from their standards. Like, they were really bad the last few years.
Their defense was a top 3 defense. So
Yeah.
defense, they clearly don't need. Their offensive line is it's pretty good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. Really, it's really just making sure your offensive weapons could stay healthy. Even Saquon, this is only going to be his third year, but he's already dealt with a couple of injuries. So
Major injury. I mean, ACL is no joke. I mean, for a running back
yeah,
especially. So, that's a problem. But realistically, to me, that team's success all comes down to will Daniel Jones pan out this year? Will he have a
yeah,
solid year? That's what's going to be. He's been too consistent. He's been back and forth, having a great game here, having 4 interceptions here. Like he just needs to balance it out and be consistent. He doesn't need to be the fucking next Tom Brady. He needs to be a guy that'll get you 250 yards and 2 touchdowns a game, and you're golden.
yeah.
You know what
So
I
I
mean?
feel like that for them, the best way that they can do that would be add another offensive weapon, a guy who's actually going to be on the field, not Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, who play at most like half a season.
Yeah.
So the
Waddle's
only thing
phenomenal,
that
too.
the only thing that scares me with them with trading back would be the Philadelphia Eagles have the following pick,
Yeah,
and they need offensive weapons. They kind of need everything, but
they do. They need a
I
lot.
feel like Waddle, if Waddle's on the board, they're going to take him because they have a bunch of no-name wide receivers. So
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And I just had the Giants trade him back. I think it's a popular spot for us. I think we're not going to have to lose too much from Bill's perspective. Only moving up a couple spots here, but I think that it's
out of
going to be the one
conference
that,
too.
yep, out of conference, no harm there. But like you said, if they really have their eyes set on Waddle, I mean, I've seen Waddle even going up as high as to the Dolphins at 6. That's how high people are on Waddle.
Yeah,
Very good, elite talent there. So I could definitely see them staying and doing that. But moving to the next pick, the Eagles here. So talk about Waddle again. I have Jalen Waddle going to the Eagles. I think that they need him.
Yeah.
Alshon Jeffrey's a bum. He's gone. They have that young kid, the hell's his name, Jalen Rieger, who had a pretty solid year when he was healthy last year, but he was also dealing with injuries. Zach Ertz, talking about him leaving. They're going to need some offensive weapons all over the place. So I just think that offense is going to be what they're going to be addressing first, most likely trying to make that quarterback feel comfortable. Jalen Hurts, they want him to feel comfortable back there, have some weapons to throw to, whatnot. But, that team has glaring needs everywhere. They're going to be bad next year. They're going to be bad. So,
yeah, they're going to stink, bro. They're
going to be the by far.
I
They're
can
going to
name
be
every
last
position
place.
where they need help.
Yeah, I promise you they're last place next year in the NFC East. Promise.
To be honest, I'm being dead ass. They might be last place in the whole league. Besides maybe like the Lions or something. They're that bad.
Oh, they're really bad. And their coach is a fucking moron. So I can totally see they're gonna be
Doug Peterson's gone.
Oh, did he leave now?
Yeah, he got fired.
Oh, good. Okay, that guy
he got fired.
That guy sucks. Okay, yeah, fuck that guy. But anyways, yeah, I mean, they're gonna be bottom 5 of the league in my opinion. Bottom 5. I won't say they're gonna be the worst. They're gonna be bottom 5. Bottom 5.
I think they're gonna be the worst.
I respect the fuck out of
I
that.
don't have any hope in them. None.
Oh no, I don't either.
None. They were terrible last year, and their rosters done nothing but got worse.
And yeah, no, they're terrible, completely terrible. I totally agree. I think they're going to be
Just
bottom
tank
3
the
to
season,
5.
get the top pick, fucking get the cap space.
I think they're going to be bottom 3
Philly
to 5.
stunk for so many years. They can do it again for another year.
I think one of the only teams that'll be worse will be. I think they'll finish third worst in the league. They're going to finish in front of the Texans, who will be the worst team, and they're going to finish in front of the Lions, who will be the second worst team.
Yeah, probably those 3. Yeah, I could see that.
Yep, they'll be the third worst in the league. But that's my prediction. They're going to get Jalen Waddle. They'll get a star wide receiver, but will Jalen Hurts be able to throw the ball to him? Who knows? We'll see. Not enough tape on him yet to understand, but that's kind of what I'm going with that. Do you disagree? You think they're going to go with Jalen Waddle if he's there?
If he's there, yeah, they're going with Waddle. If he's not there, they'll probably get an offensive lineman.
Yep, I agree. There's a lot of good ones left. I've seen a couple guys that they could consider. So back to 13 here. This is where I had that trade. So Detroit flip-flop with the Chargers. For me, they took Micah Parsons. They need to shore up that linebacking core. Really need help there. So I think they're going to take Micah Parsons. Probably the best linebacker in the draft. Just a pure talent. Can play anywhere. Guy's a beast. So I think they're going to take him, start rebuilding around him on that defense.
I think no matter who has that pick, Detroit or the Chargers, they're going to take Micah Parsons.
Yeah, he's
Both
phenomenal.
of them could use the linebacker.
Another
Plus,
guy
he's a
that I love
solid
on the
player.
Patriots too. No, I would not be upset if they took him. If he was there at 15, I would not be mad at all. So that's how much I feel about him. I feel really strong about his ability to play. I think he's pretty NFL ready. The guy's a baller. So yeah, I agree with that. Me and you are on the same page.
This next pick is the one that actually scares me. I'm not concerned about the rest of the picks on the board. It's this one, and of course, it's right before the Patriots pick because the Vikings, obviously, they have great offensive weapons. They don't need anything on the offensive side of the ball. The defense can use a little bit of work, but you have Kirk Cousins, who absolutely fucking sucks, and he's getting paid big money. And I believe he has 1 or 2 years left on his deal. So they are in need of a quarterback. And this is where I feel like this is where the Pats are going to get boned. It's like just before they pick. I feel like this is where Justin Fields is going to come off the board.
Yep. No, that makes total sense. And that's why I think that's another reason, look at these teams in front of the Patriots within this 11 to 15 range. This is why I think they're going to trade with the Giants, do whatever they can to get that pick. They have to deal with the Eagles, who could definitely draft another quarterback. They don't have anything proven yet. They could draft another quarterback. The Lions, which I have trading back, they could draft another guy. Fucking Goff sucks. So they could draft another quarterback. The Vikings, Kirk sucks. They could draft another quarterback. You know what I mean? So all those teams could definitely be in the quarterback conversation. But with him in my mock draft, with Fields being gone, I have them at 14 taking Rashawn Slater, who's known to be the best, second best tackle out of the draft class out of Northwestern. So this kid's solid. I think they're just gonna really, really, really focus on protecting Cousins so he has time to throw. But on top of that, though, I think they're just gonna be a really heavy ground and pound team like they always are. Dalvin Cook is a fucking beast. So they're just gonna work that, I think, heavy. So I think they're gonna add another big boy tackle, big boy, bad boy tackle, and just keep pounding the rock. I think that's their strong suit. They're going to stick to it.
Yeah, to be honest, I just see that. I think they're taking Justin Fields before we even get a chance.
No, I could definitely see that too. But in my mock draft, like I said, I'm going to follow what I did. I have the Patriots trading up, and I think that since I'm hearing them making calls and making all the right moves, I think they're going to move up. So I have New England up at 11 now. So for me, Fields is gone, and the Giants have the 15 pick now. But moving on, we got the Giants now at 15, trading back from New England, packaging up, getting a few more picks. I have them taking a strong edge rusher. I feel like that's something they can always use. They had a breakout season from Leonard Williams, who was fucking phenomenal for them last year, right up the middle. He was, a great interior D lineman for them. I think they're going to add a nice edge rusher. I have them getting this guy's a kind of funny name, Azeez Ojulari, out of the edge rusher out of Georgia. One of the best edge rushers in the draft. Guy is pretty close to NFL already, I think, and I think they're just going to keep making that D line scary, trying to build something similar to what Washington has with a really, really tough D line, great linebacking core, and just their front seven is going to be dominant. So I think they're going to add in another edge rusher there.
Yeah, I could see that if they're their number 15. But for me, I got the Pats staying put at that pick. I think they're going to take Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M.
Interesting. What's your reasoning behind that?
Well, you kind of know like what you're going to get. When he played there, he had consistent numbers. He was pretty much a 20 touchdown and 9 interception guy. He could pass the ball down the field. It just, you know what you're going to get. It's a consistent play. It's not really a risky pick. And they definitely need some consistency at the quarterback position. It's a guy that Bill can groom. It's, I
just don't think they'd have to take him that early.
I just feel like when you get later in the rounds, look at I don't see any other quarterback that's even nearly as good, and I don't feel like they're going to try to wait around until the second round to get the quarterback that they desperately need. You know what I mean? Like every other position on their team, the only position I would maybe go after would be linebacker, and at that point in my mock draft, Micah Parsons is going to be off the board. So
no, there's still some other good linebackers I could see them taking. A couple good wide receivers. I could see them adding it with Edelman gone now. There's a couple positions they could definitely add to. If they're still there, I mean, all the premier quarterbacks will be gone. I think they're going to wait if they don't get one of those top guys. I don't think they're going to take them at 15. I think that's too early of a jump. Teams usually draft by value. If Parsons is there at 15, then they'll definitely probably take him. If not, I can see them, taking. They always love stacking up on a lineman. I would not even be surprised taking another lineman, another linebacker. There's some couple other good guys that I talk about later in the draft. Linebackers, obviously, like a position of need for us. But one of these wide receivers could jump off the board to us too. But realistically, I think they're going to move up, so I'm going to stick with that. So at 15 for me, I got the Giants taking Azeez Ojulari, edge rusher out of Georgia.
Semi Ojale.
That guy's bonds, bro. Celtics shipped him off for fucking bag of basketballs. But anyways, moving to this pick. I had some trouble with this one too. This was kind of a tough pick. This is a weird spot for them. Cardinals at 16. I had them staying at 16. I think that With this pick, they really wanted Jalen Waddle or one of those guys to fall, Devonta Smith, someone like that to fall. Because I mean, even Devonta Smith, I've seen him go really late in some of these mock drafts, which blows my mind. But anyways, both of those top receivers are gone. I think that they're going to just keep trying to protect Kyler Murray, letting him have a field day back there. They added in, or not, they didn't add in. What the fuck am I saying? I was thinking that they had the Raiders backfield for a second. They lost Kenny and Drake. I thought they added in Josh Jacobs. I was about to say that in reverse, which would have been pretty wild. But I think that they're going to just try to bulk up that O-line. That wasn't always great last year. And they're going to take this guy, Christian Darrisaw, out of Virginia Tech. The guy's a pretty solid tackle. Supposed to be a top 20 guy. And I think that they're just going to keep addressing needs on the offensive side of the ball. They could have went corner here, but the top two guys went. And I thought it was a little early for some of the other guys, so I didn't. But another guy that I could definitely see them taking is Greg Newsome, the corner out of Northwest too. So I don't know. That's another guy I can see them taking. But realistically, I think they're going to take another tackle.
Yeah, I could see that. They definitely, if they want to be a consistent playoff contender and go deep in the playoffs, they need to convert Kyler Murray from less of the running quarterback to more of a passing quarterback. So that starts with protecting him in the pocket.
Absolutely. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. And they're going to get another beefy alignment for the front end. And, they're going to need the extra help with losing Drake now and all that. So I don't have a true really running back. I don't know how good Edmonds will be as a full workhorse. We'll see. But anyways, moving on, 17, we got the Raiders, John Gruden's Raiders. I think that a very, very, very glaring need for them is the defensive line, especially the interior defensive line. So I think they're going to take an interior defensive lineman, Christian Barmore out of Bama. The kid's probably the best D lineman interior in the whole draft. So I just think they're going to address that need, bulk up that O line because they were awful against the run last year, terrible. So I think that's what they're going to take.
Yeah, I agree. I could see that. They're another team that is very interesting too when it comes to quarterback because they have Derek Carr, who's an average quarterback, but there's been a lot of rumors, at least the last few years. That he's going to get traded. And a lot of them speculate that he's going to get traded on draft night so the Raiders can go ahead and get a quarterback earlier in the draft. Mm-hmm. So that's why that's partially a team like that, the Bears, even the Washington football team, and so on in the draft. That's one of the reasons. Yeah. That's one of those teams like that. Those are teams that scare me, especially as like a Patriots fan. And I know that we need a quarterback. That's the only reason why I was saying I feel like they're going to jump and just get Kellen Mond early before he gets gone.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got a point. I mean, I could definitely see any of those three teams you listed hop up. I just think that teams a lot of the time, when the best guys are off the board, they draft by best available. I think that's just kind of how they're trained to do it. I think that, if we did pass on a quarterback in the first round for New England, let's say, or, either any of these other teams too that need him, they'd probably address it in the second or third round. So earlier in the draft still. So,
realistically, I see Mond realistically as a second rounder. But I just feel like based off the other teams and their position need as well at the quarterback, that it's like, okay, like we need to get this guy before he's off the board. The only thing that I could see would be, say, a team like the Raiders or even the Bears or the other team needs a quarterback. They'll trade up and New England will trade back. So then like one of the top quarterbacks will be gone and then we'll get Kellen Mond later or so on. Like we'll trade to a team that doesn't need a quarterback at 15 and we'll trade back, then we'll get Mond, you know what I mean? Before the end of the first round. It'll be like almost like a Jordan Love, like a late first round quarterback.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting how the trades will pan out and shit like that because there's going to be some teams moving around this year for sure. So we'll have to monitor that, see what happens. But for now, I'll stick with my Christian Barmore pick out of Bama, interior D lineman for the Raiders. But these fucking Dolphins, man, they're all over the board in this place. They got the 18th pick too. A team that was solid last year. They got two high first round picks, so good for them.
There's something like 4 first rounders in like the next 3 or 4 years or some shit like that.
Yeah, they had 2 last year too. I think they did. Yeah, they took a tackle and they took Tua.
Yeah, so it's like four firsts in 2 years, and they like just missed the playoff by like a half a game.
Pretty insane. I mean, they're just completely loaded up now and they're ready to win. So good for them. But yeah, for the Dolphins here, I think that a little bit of an area they were struggling last year was edge rushing. So I think they're going to address that here with this pick on the defensive side of the ball. They got an offensive weapon. They're going to address the defensive side now. They're going to add in Jalen Phillips out of an edge rusher out of Miami. Guy's solid, very versatile, and I think that he's a very solid edge rusher, one of the top 2 or 3 in the draft. So I think they're going to add another nice edge rusher into that D line.
Local guy, company guy. I could see
That's
it.
right. Yeah, Miami. That's what I'm saying. They like the guys that are local like that too. Every team kind of like always favors those guys that are homegrown. But yeah, I could definitely see that. Do you have any other ideas for them?
Not really. I mean, they're pretty stacked. So
Yeah, yeah, they have a pretty
yeah.
good team. They're going to be tough to beat. But yeah, I think that makes sense, and I think they'll keep that pick and take a good solid edge rusher in the top 18 there. Moving on, we got Washington at 19. This was, like you said, an interesting one. They could definitely move up in the draft if something were to happen, and they could get a shot at a quarterback for long term. I have them taking another solid linebacker. That was a little bit of an area of need behind that great O line and those outside linebackers. They need someone that can play the middle. And this guy, Jamin Davis, out of Kentucky, was really solid. So I think that they're going to end up taking him here, seeing that the premier quarterbacks are off the board, and they're kind of solid in every other area. Their secondary is good. Their overall front seven is pretty good too. I just think that they wanted to add one more piece into that linebacking core. I can see them taking maybe a guard or a tackle, something like that as well. But they have a good running back, good receivers. I don't know. Could add a receiver too, I guess. But they have a pretty decent core with Terry McLaurin and some of those other guys, and fucking
Curtis
Curtis Samuel too
added.
now. Yep, and then they had Logan Thomas break out last year at the tight end position. They're pretty good. That's a good team. But I
Yeah,
have them.
honestly, I think unless they trade up for a quarterback or if they happen to get one of the quarterbacks to fall that far, I think they trade out of the first round. I think they get more picks.
Could definitely see that too. There's no glaring needs really other than quarterback really for them. So that could definitely happen. I have them staying in my mock draft and taking Jamin Davis, linebacker at Kentucky. This is a guy that was hyped up a little bit coming in, had a really good camp and combine. So I think that he'll get taken at 19, but could definitely see them trading back too. Interesting spot there. 20, we got the Bears. The Bears have a lot of needs too, especially on the offensive side of the ball with the quarterback and some line problems. So I think they're going to address the O-line here. I think they're going to take Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State. This guy is solid too, as solid as they come. Top 20 prospect here. So I think that he'll fall to this 20 spot with the Bears. Don't think they're going to be able to trade up, with what they got to offer. So I think that Tevin Jenkins will be what they get. Tackle. Protect the quarterback, Dalton, I guess, back there. But they really do need a quarterback, so I don't know what they're going to do. But
QB1 Andy.
QB1 and proud. The Bears posted. I was like, all right.
So shit, dude. So shit. They're another team. If they just had the quarterback, then they could have made such a deep run.
I know that defense is fucking sick.
Now, let me ask you. I didn't get to check before this, but did Allen Robinson, he only signed the franchise tag, right? So he's only tenured for 1 year.
1 year, and I heard that he was unhappy with the franchise tag and wanted a long-term deal.
Well, he said as of last year that he wasn't going to sign the franchise tag if they offered it, and he almost didn't. He didn't sign it for a few days. Took a few days.
They must have really convinced him. Yeah.
So just based off that, I think they're going to get a wide receiver.
I could see that. And I could, I think that they could definitely use another wide receiver in that mix, but they do have some young guys that I do like. Anthony Miller, I like a lot. Mooney had a great breakout year last year as well.
Yeah.
So they had a couple guys that are solid. They have that young Cole Kmet too, that's playing pretty decent for them. I think, tight ends usually take a little more time to hit their prime and stride. So I think this year he could definitely take a step forward, especially with Andy Dalton, because Andy Dalton loves throwing the tight end position. So we'll see what happens. They got some decent weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Montgomery had a better year.
Tyreek Cohen too. He's a good change of pace.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Cohen tore his fucking ACL last year, but he'll be back.
Another one.
Another one goes down. Yeah.
The turf monster, man. It was brutal last year.
That's right. Oh my god, it's terrible. But yeah, for me,
fucking bitch took no fucking mercy.
Oh, never at all. They have no patience for any. They just take all. They take and don't give back. But yeah, for me, the Bears, I don't think they got enough to trade up. I don't think they will. They're going to take a tackle. Another position to be, they have Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. That's what I got on my list, at least. But yeah, moving on. So 21, this is where I have a move as well. So I have Green Bay trading up with Indy. I think Indy's really strong in a lot of positions, and I think they're going to want to just take the picks. They're going to trade back to their 29th pick, which is where Green Bay sits right now. So I think Green Bay is going to trade up to 21, and they're going to take Caleb Farley out of the corner out of Virginia Tech. They got to get rid of fucking King or whatever. Yeah, he's fucking terrible.
He's elite.
Caleb Farley was one of the top cornerback prospects going in, but there's a lot of spectacle, issues with his injury history. So that's why he's dropped so far in a lot of mock drafts that I've saw. So I think they're going to trade up, get a solid guy that could be potentially a top corner out of this draft. Has potential to be just as good as Patrick Surtain. The guy was phenomenal through college. So I think his injury history is the only thing that plagues him. I think they're going to add him across from what the hell's his name? The phenomenal corner they have.
Jared Alexander.
Yep. So yeah, Jared Alexander and Caleb Farley. I think that's what they're going to do. Going to trade up, move a couple spots up, and he's going to load up on the picks. They're going to get Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That's a glaring need for Green Bay is to get that solid number 2 corner and show up the secondary outside of Jared Alexander. It definitely was what cost them the NFC Championship game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a couple of teams before that could also use corners, so they'll definitely want to get their guy before the other teams get a chance.
Definitely, I agree, and it definitely could fall different. I could also see them taking a wideout too, get another solid guy with Devontae Adams back there. They've been wanting that for a while, so I think I can definitely see them taking a wide receiver as well. But moving on, Titans at 22. They just lost like all their fucking wide receivers, so I'm gonna have them take a wide receiver. They're taking Rashad Bateman out of wide receiver out of Minnesota. This guy was solid to the core. Nice deep threat guy that can move around really well, very shift, and can move really good laterally. So I think that's something they could add in with AJ Brown and get a decent receiving core out there for Tannehill because teams are just going to stack the box like crazy against them. You want to be able to spread them out a bit and have guys stretch the field. So I think that's what they're going to do. They lost Corey Davis. They lost some other guys that they really liked. Obviously Jonnu Smith we got. So they lost some of their biggest weapons. So they're going to add in a wide receiver. I think they're going to take Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, I could definitely see wide receiver now. Just play it off. They definitely need offensive skill positions, so they'll play wide receiver based off the value, and then later on in the draft, they'll probably try to address the tight end position.
Yep, I agree, and I'm a huge Tannehill fan. I like Tannehill a lot. I knew that he was good even back in Miami when Miami sucked really bad. I felt so bad he was stuck there. As soon as he got traded to the Titans, he's been an absolute gem. So good for him. But yeah, do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, they definitely need to help out Ryan Tannehill. I mean, the defense for sure could use a couple of pieces to work with, but I mean, they've gotten by with much worse, and they've made a couple of additions in the offseason. So,
So yeah, this 23 here is the Jets. So this is an interesting pick for me as well. I have them; they could go two different ways. I think they need to address a little bit their pass rush on D-line. So I have them taking this guy named Kwity Paye. He's edge rusher out of Michigan. Really solid guy. I've seen him fluctuate from all the way up to the 10 overall to all the way down to, where I put him here at 23. So a guy that has a lot of flexibility, not really sure where he's going to go, but he's a first round talent. So I have him either taking him or Najee Harris because they need a running back very, very bad. And if they're going to add in Zach Wilson, they're going to want to add in a great running back to, protect him back there and also make him a little more comfortable. So Najee Harris, definitely him and Travis Etienne, two best running backs in the draft. I actually don't have a running back on in the first round, which is, a little tough. I was really considering it here towards the end, but I didn't. I picked them to go with an edge rusher, Kwity Paye out of Michigan.
Yeah, I got Najee going right here just because their offense, for all it's worth, it is the Jets, and they have sucked really bad for some years. But they have had the ability, even with horrible play and horrible coaching, to usually stick around in games just based off of their defense has been a pretty good defense, and their offense can move the ball down the field. But what happens is they get too predictable, and then usually Darnold throws a pick and they get fucked because they've had no run game. Le'Veon Bell is a complete dud. Then when they didn't have him in, they had old man Gore, who was getting like less than 2 yards a rush. So I feel like the run game is just so vital. You need that well-balanced attack, especially with a young quarterback. You need him to at least be comfortable enough in there where, if he's not making the right reads and making the right throws, he can hand it off to the guy and he can get you a couple of yards, get you down the field.
Yeah, and I think that it's definitely a glaring need. The only reason I went defense is because they just have so many needs, and I just feel like they're going to want to spread out the level a little bit on offense and defense. So that's why I separated it and went edge rusher for them. They love beefing up that D-line. So I think, especially after losing Leonard Williams too, they want to beef up that D-line. So yeah, that's what I think they're gonna do. They're gonna take that edge rusher, but I could definitely see them taking Najee Harris. And I think I'm actually gonna change one of my picks down here. That actually, I'll explain where I think he might go later. But moving on from 23, we got the Steelers at 24. This is another team that could use Najee Harris as well, or Travis Etienne. So I could definitely
or a quarterback,
or a quarterback for that matter too. but I don't think at 24 they'll take one here. I think they'll probably wait for a round or two after.
Yeah, at that
Um,
point.
Yep. So they also have a very big need at corner. So this is what I have them doing. I have them taking Greg Newsome, solid corner out of Northwestern, um, or Northern Washington, I believe it is. I just wrote it NW. I forget what the hell school he was at, but he's really solid. And one of the better cornerback prospects I've seen out there for this year. So I can just see them addressing that position on defense. They got burned a lot in the secondary last year. And especially if Najee Harris goes in the pick before, I think that they'll go corner. So I have them taking him here.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard for me to decide between a corner or a running back. But for me, like if I'm looking at it just based off of the personnel they already have, their defense was an elite defense, even with the lack of support in the secondary. And
Yeah.
their offense, for all the wide receiver talent they had, those fucking guys were doing so much dancing and they weren't focused on catching balls. And even when they were hot, Ben Roethlisberger was just fucking throwing it at the defenders playing for the other team. So at least if you have a decent running back, you can just hand it off and he can just get you yards again. Like you can take the ball out of the quarterback's hands, take the ball off of the ground where the wide receivers are dropping it on, and just let the fucking running back get you down the field.
Yeah,
And
James Conner's gone now too. They shipped him up to Arizona, so he's gone.
it's like, what are you going to hand it off to Benny Snell? Like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I think
yeah,
they go running back. In my
it's a
opinion.
glaring need. I think that if the Jets don't take Najee Harris, they might take him here. If they really really desperately want one, I can definitely see them taking Travis Etienne. Although I feel like he's a better fit for the early second round. But I think he can definitely slide in here. He's very versatile, good guy that he could definitely slide in as well. But yeah, that's the Steelers. The Jags back-to-back picks here. They got them the 25th. Well, not back-to-back, but they got, 2 first rounders.
2 first rounders.
Yep. So the Jags, I think they're going to do just this. They're going to take Elijah Vera Tucker, tackle out of USC. They're going to protect Trevor Lawrence. They're going to take a nice big boy tackle. Very hyped up guy as well. I've heard this guy's name thrown around there a lot from USC. So that's what I got them doing here.
Yep, as they should, and learn from Joey B, his disaster. So,
Yep, I agree.
poor
Help him
Joey
out
B,
and
man.
help out my boy James Robinson too. Young and slept on.
Poor Joey B.
I know. I feel so bad for him. I think they're gonna fuck up again. They're gonna take Jamar Chase. I know it. I have a gut
That
feeling.
poor fuck.
Yep. But moving on, I think we both agree with that. Browns, we got them at 26. Another team that was really impressive last year. I think they're going to address the linebacker position here. They're going to take the guy that goes by the initials JOK, Jeremiah Owuzu, and then his last name I don't even going to pronounce. Some fucking crazy.
Can't even pronounce.
Papa to proof. Yeah, Jeremiah Owuzu. We'll just leave it at that. Out of Notre Dame. The guy's a very solid linebacker, and he was thrown around in there with the names of Micah Parsons and stuff like that. So he's another guy that they can definitely rely on for that. So I think that's what they'll do.
Yeah, I agree. The Browns showed a lot of promise last year under Kevin Stefanski. Their offense is pretty good. They just picked up the 5th-year option on Baker Mayfield, and he played pretty well last year after all the the shit he's been getting after his first rookie year.
Yeah.
So their offensive side of the ball is pretty much set. All set. Don't need anything. Defense, they just added Jadeveon Clowney alongside Myles Garrett. So that'd be a pretty good edge rush. Corner, they still have Denzel Ward, who's developing. A couple other guys back there. So definitely linebacker. I could definitely see that.
Yep. So that's what we both agree on that. Then that works. So then the Saints here, the Saints can do a lot of stuff too. They have a lot of moving parts with Drew Brees retiring now.
When it was the Ravens first and the Saints.
Oh, my bad. I skipped over them. Yeah, so the Ravens 27. So the Ravens here, this guy, I think to me just fits their scheme of what they need the most. So I'm going to put it there like that. Elijah Moore, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. The guy is very quick and versatile, small, shifty guy. They have guys that can stretch the field down there like Marquise Brown and, guys like that. But they just don't have someone that gets open quick for Lamar Jackson. So I think that's what they're going to go for here. Someone that can get open quick, get them quick first downs. And I think Elijah Moore is the guy. So I think they're going to take him at 27.
Yeah, it's definitely an upgrade from what they have now. Marquise Brown is definitely a good downfield guy. He needs a little bit of an extra step to get past the defenders because a lot of times he'll be in press coverage. But then once he's up and downfield, he has the elite speed.
Yeah,
and the only guy they really have to get open right away is Mark Andrews. But even then, he's more of a tight end, a red zone tight end.
So. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to rely 100% on the tight end moving the sticks. If his name's not Travis Kelce or George Kittle, then he's probably not going to do it every time. So, I think they're going to need a quick slot guy that's just going to be quick wide open slants, out routes, stuff like that. It's going to move the sticks for him and make it so he doesn't have to run and get his legs snapped. You know what I mean? Because that's what's going to happen if he keeps running this much.
Yeah. I mean, that's the next part in Lamar Jackson's development as well. He needs to become a pocket passer. I mean, he can run for days. That dude's a fucking freak of nature.
Yeah. If he
How
can
he's
become,
able to run the way he is without taking huge hits is just like a godsend. Like he's like a video game.
yeah,
But I mean, you see the playoff success and overall team success speaks for itself. The running quarterbacks typically don't have great championship pedigree. You need to be able to pass in the pocket and move the sticks.
yeah, no, I totally agree. And if he ever wants to win a Super Bowl, I think he'll have to do that. If he could just change his model a little bit to more of Russell Wilson style, where it's a pass
Yeah.
100% first and then run if you have to, then things will work out really good. Because I mean, there's going to be a lot of times where guys won't be open; he'll still get to use his legs and be explosive out there. But you got to protect yourself as a quarterback. He's only 23 years old. You don't want to fuck up your legs like Joey B did already. You know what I mean? Like don't do that. So I think that you're 100% right. They need to move more towards that. And they're going to get a guy that's going to help him develop in that way. So I think they're going to get Elijah Moore.
The team's well built. The only thing that's really holding them back is just Lamar Jackson's progression.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, he was already MVP of the league, so he doesn't need too much, but he just needs to figure that passing game a little bit more, and they'll be fine. I think he's good. So, moving on, 28, the Saints. This pick they got a lot of moving parts, obviously, with Drew Brees retiring, shit like that. I think that whoever they're going to put back there for quarterback, whether it be Jameis Winston or what the fuck's his name?
Taysom Hill.
Yeah, Taysom Hill. Whoever they put back there at quarterback, they're going to want to try to make him feel as comfortable as possible. Emmanuel Sanders just departed. He's out in Buffalo now. Michael Thomas had a weird year last year, a lot of injuries, stuff like that. So I think they're going to add to the wide receiver position. I think they're going to get this guy by the name of Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. Another guy that was a really good standout player for them. Very explosive offense there down in Florida with him and Kyle Pitts. I think they're going to kind of try to mimic that and get another wide receiver that's a deep threat and someone that can move the sticks deep downfield because obviously Jameis Winston's a guy that loves to bomb it. So, I have a feeling that he'll be probably the starter if I had to guess. And then with a mix in with him and Taysom Hill, I think it'll be like kind of a committee quarterback. It's going to be weird, but we'll see how it works.
Yeah, I can agree with that. They're another team who's well built and they're ready to win now, but of course they're going to get held back by the quarterback position.
Yep.
And it stinks because
Jameis got his eyes fixed.
yeah, but last year he had the chance to be the starter when Drew Brees is out, and they still put in Taysom Hill, and Taysom Hill actually balled the fuck out.
Oh, I love Taysom Hill. I just don't know how built he is to be a pocket passer quarterback. He's another one of those guys that will need to really work on his passing game. But yeah, we'll see. I'm rooting for him. We'll see what happens. That's an interesting one, but I just think they're going to add to the wide receiver position, make whoever steps in there more comfortable. That's my opinion on it.
Yes, sir. And then the next up would be, we both agree that the Green Bay would trade up. So this will be the Colts.
This will be the Colts here at 29. Yep. So for me, I've been looking at a lot of reports seeing that the Colts really want to add another tackle in to that stacked O-line. They want to add someone else in.
As if they need another offensive lineman.
I'm dead serious. I've read that they're really high on this guy, Samuel Cosme out of Texas, another tackle. They had some actually people depart from their O-line, so I think that's why. Not obviously into the big guys, but guys that they actually missed, and now they want to add another guy that they see has a lot of potential, and they're going to build up that backfield for Carson Wentz. They're going to protect him to the point because the Eagles did not do anything to protect him at all. They let him get killed. One, so they're going to protect him, and two, they're going to fucking pound the rock with Jonathan Taylor because that kid's a freak.
And Naheem, bro.
Yeah, Naheem Hines is great too. That's a good team. The Colts are going to be good this year. But yeah, I think that trade back makes sense. They're going to load up with more picks, and they're going to take this tackle here out of Texas. I've been seeing a lot of rumors about them taking him, so that's my thought.
Yeah, I could see it for how stacked their line is. Like you said, they had some departures, and they definitely want to guarantee Wentz is as comfortable as possible, and the run game is going to be as productive as possible. The only other position I would say they even need is wide receiver, but once they get the extra picks from Green Bay, they can always just get one later on.
There's really good wide receivers in this class. I would like to see them take a guy like Rondale Moore. That guy ran like a 4.3 flat, and he's a really great slot guy, super fast. And run, it could just be anybody downfield. So I could definitely see them taking someone like that too here. So we'll see what happens there. But I think they're going to go with the tackle, shore up that O line, and protect Wentz and pound the rock heavy with Jonathan Taylor because he's great.
Tackles are typically more valuable, so I definitely could see them using the first on the tackle and then waiting for the wide out because like you said, there's a couple of them in this draft. They can always just wait.
Yep, and I think they're going to use that pick that they stole from Green Bay probably to address the wide receiver position next round. That's what I think they'll do. So for this pick here with 30, Buffalo. So Buffalo's a team that is also very, very stacked. And they have a lot of positions that they are very, very good on, and they don't need much. I originally had them trading with Atlanta here. Atlanta trading back into the first again to get another player. But really thinking about it, this depends on a lot for me. If there's running back still on the board, this is the one glaring need I think this team really has. Is running back. They're going to take either Najee Harris or Travis Etienne. I think at this pick because their running backs are not getting it done at all. But although I think they do have a lot of faith in Zach Moss, I don't know if he's ever going to be a workhorse guy. So I think they might trade back if Najee Harris is gone. But if he's there, I think they're going to take him. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Buffalo is definitely a tough team for sure. They have a lot of great players pretty much all over the board. Some young, some veterans. Running back, I don't know. I don't know if they'll take the the play it out approach and they'll let Zach Moss kind of develop. Devin Singletary, you kind of know what you're going to get. He's definitely a good number 2 back. He's not going to be the number 1.
Yes, to me, Singletary did not look good last year. It worries me. I don't know.
He's just like a good change of pace guy, really.
Yeah.
That's why like he's a decent number 2 back. Like he won't be a number 1, but then like you look at Zach Moss, riddled by injuries his rookie year, and he showed some flashes. You could really take over that number 1 role. But even then, sometimes you saw him fighting with Singletary, and Singletary is like just average at best. So I don't know. I agree. If they have a chance to get one of those top running backs, if they're still on the board, I think they will take them. But I don't think they'll. I don't know.
I think if not,
I could see them trading out. I
totally can see that. They don't really have any glaring needs other than that, to be honest with you.
The guys that they would get would probably be like a defensive tackle or a linebacker if they don't end up getting the running back in that spot. And even then, they could just trade back because Atlanta has the 35th pick. So
yeah, no, and I think that's another reason. I think Atlanta is kind of in a mode where they want to win now. They have some good talent on both sides of the ball. That's all the matter of fact of shoring that defense up. And obviously they couldn't pass on Kyle Pitts at 4, so I think they trade up here. If Buffalo doesn't keep this pick for a running back, I think they trade up here. Give Buffalo more picks. Buffalo trades back into the second round, and they take Jason away. I don't even know how you pronounce it. It's Oweh. But this is a guy that they're pretty high on, and I know the Buccaneers are also very high on them, so they're going to be pissed if they do that. Because I've seen a couple mock drafts where they had the Buccaneers trading up for this guy. So that's where I have Atlanta taking him if one of the running backs aren't taken at 30 here by Buffalo. But then we can move on. 31, we got the Ravens again. So the Ravens have 2 picks in this round. This is where I have them taking a linebacker / edge rusher. They just lost what's his name? Judon to the Patriots. So they're going to want to address that hole that he plays outside linebacker. So he plays off the line of scrimmage, and he also plays standing up in the outside linebacker position. Very versatile. I think they take Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. That's my prediction for them. They got the wide receiver last round or the pick before. I think they're going to take the linebacker / edge rusher here.
That's another interesting one because they just traded away Orlando Brown. So now they kind of have that hole at left tackle as well. So they could go either way on this one.
I agree. I'm not sure what tackle they take. A lot of the top ones already left. I think there was already 4 to 5 tackles taken. So I don't know if they'd wait, but they might. If not, I think that's a decent position they can fill. And also they obviously need that linebacker edge rusher to replace Judon. So
when's their next pick in the draft? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I only have on my phone written down the first round. So unless they traded around, which they didn't in this first round, unless they traded beforehand and have someone else's picks, they're going to have they'll have a late second round pick.
Yeah, I have it up on the ESPN's website. It doesn't even look like they have a second round pick.
Yeah, they might have traded it away.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just based off that, I could see them taking the tackle because it's kind of a more pressing matter, especially if you want Lamar Jackson to be comfortable throwing in the pocket.
Yep, I could definitely see them getting a tackle too. It could go either way.
Yeah, they'll definitely be busy on draft night too. They'll want to trade back into the second round.
Yeah, that's another example. They might trade back and get more picks later on. So there's a lot of shit towards the end of the draft that could happen. But moving on, we'll wrap up here. Get the Buccaneers at 32. This team is fucking loaded. I don't even know they don't even have any fucking needs. They're just loaded top to bottom. They really don't have one singular need that comes to my head, like not even one. So I think they're just gonna get even scarier on the D line. They're gonna take another edge rusher. If that guy Jason Oweh is still there from Penn State, and I think they're going to take him. But if not, they're going to take Gregory Rousseau, edge rusher. And I think he's another guy that's really solid. That's going to kind of fall a little bit in this draft, just based on some of the edge rush talent around him. But I think they're just going to keep adding to that fucking scary O line or D line.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. The only position, I don't know. The only positions I would say that they necessarily need is a young quarterback for whenever Tom Brady retires, if he ever does, when he gets like 100 years old, which by then none of the quarterbacks are worth the first round pick. Or they can go offensive line. Not to say the offensive line sucks, but they have a couple of guys that are getting older. So
yeah, no, I think there's a couple glaring needs. I think the edge rusher is a position they also need, just because JPP isn't young anymore, Sue isn't young anymore. There's some guys in that D line are getting older, so I think they're going to try to replace those guys, keep that D line good for the future. So that I could see. O tackle I could see, or not so much O tackle. I mean, it depends on what they need. Like
basically just like a guard or a center, not even a tackle.
Yeah, because their tackles are solid.
But then by then, like guards and centers usually you can get later.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
They would probably you're probably right. They probably go off value. So, I mean, I think JPP is on the last year of his deal. Sue's on a 1-year deal, and they just got Vita Vea back on his option. So they probably would go defensive tackle, or they would go on the outside edge.
Yeah, just because they're probably going to lose one or two of those guys by next year.
Yeah, just prep for the future.
Yep, I think because really they don't have any needs. So that's how I'm going to wrap it up there. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm fucking ecstatic. I'm so excited for this draft, and this is the highest pick the Patriots have had it forever. Being a Pats fan, so top 15 pick. Oh my god, the fuck's going on?
Dude, like I said, ESPN's been making it seem like the draft is like any day now since Christmas. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like every single day you pull it up, Mel Kiper mock draft, or like Ryan Clark mock draft, and I'm like, dude, what is the draft like next week? And this is like back in January. It's like, no, it's fucking April. Like what?
Just that football excitement, baby. Football 24/7.
It's like the Super Bowl hasn't even been played yet, and they already have the mock draft up.
You already know. It's just how it is, football, baby.
It's ridiculous. I'm like, all right, can you just take this off? Like, why don't we wait until a month and a half before? Like, not like 6 months out. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it made no sense. I mean, because there's so much change between that 6-month period, so it makes no even sense to do mock drafts at that point.
Well, Justin Fields alone, because they didn't even play the college football playoffs yet or any of the championship games. He went from being in like a second round pick all the way down to like a top 10 pick now. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, a lot of inconsistency, but hey, we're here. It's Thursday. Get excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's crazy to think it's already, the month of April's already come and gone pretty much.
Yep, going into May, and football will be back by August. So we're moving right along. Football is right around the corner again, and I'm fucking ecstatic.
Masks are out the window in most of the states too. The capacities are going up. So
we should have a very, very close to normal year. Hopefully, I'm really praying. But yeah, that's this video, and that wraps it up. I mean, we covered all 32 teams here, all the picks, the trades, whatever it may be. Got our picks locked in. We'll probably post on the Instagram some of our picks too. I know I'll probably do it just to get you guys a visual on my phone or whatever. Let you guys go through it quick. But realistically, that was our video. NFL draft. We're back, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yes, sir. Ski.
Peace.